Welcome back to another episode. The stock market has been doing amazing. My portfolio is reaching all-time highs. But on today's episode, I want to do something different. I want to kind of change things up. Obviously, things are doing good, but I think it's always good to plan on when things go bad. So on today's episode, I want to take a quick look at some stocks I wouldn't mind adding on to if we see a crazy market correction. And I think it's always good to have a plan. Right now, there's a total of about 15 to 17 stocks that I wouldn't mind if a correction goes down for me to kind of open up or kind of increase my overall position in them, and these 17 stocks to be roughly 85% of my portfolio. If anybody wants to take a quick look at my portfolio, it's about a little bit over six figures. I have a link on the pinned comment for those that are new to this channel. But on today's episode, I want to take a quick look at 5 stocks out of these few that I'm going to do a bit of a video series on it and just show my overall thoughts and why these are companies I want to add if stock prices drop. And at the end of this episode, I'm also going to talk about what levels or what kind of prices am I looking to enter a big position. So the first company most of you guys might know, and most of the stocks here are actually my tier 1 stocks. These are already my biggest positions in my overall portfolio. And the first one we're going to take a quick look at is Sorense. This is probably the smallest market cap out of all the stocks I'm going to do in this video series. It currently has a market cap of about $4.2 billion. Yes, this is probably the smallest one. And right now, the stock price is up 4.21% on the day. And this is one that I added up during the correction we saw in March and May, around April, right? So this is the one I've added onto one of my tier 1 stocks. For those not familiar with Cerence, this is pretty much a conversational AI product. They're used to kind of create kind of smart co-pilots and smart kind of assistant drivers. So right now, the main market that they're hitting is the automotive platforms. They have pretty much contracts with almost every single tier 1 player in the automobile industry. The second market, and that's their main market, right? The second markets that they're trying to hit into are the two-wheeler platforms, so kind of motorcycle, the smart motorcycle world. And this is still in early phases. And the third one that's really interesting me the most is the building platform. They're trying to kind of get this conversational AI voice into like elevators, for example, and I think that's going to be a huge move, especially the way the world is going. One of my favorite things about Sorense right now is even though they're such a small company, they use some of these big technology players out there. For example, Sorense was among one of the earliest to use Nvidia's AI enterprise, and this AI enterprise is a way for even small companies to kind of have this supercomputer kind of style workload to train artificial intelligence and machine learning. And overall, so Sorense is already ahead of the curve, working with teams like Nvidia, and I like that a lot. This is what makes it one of my top positions I wouldn't mind adding right now. Writing if we see a crazy market correction. The second one, and you might be like, Jose, a crazy market correction. I mean, obviously the chances of it happening are low, but in the past 2 years, we have seen a few over 10, over 15% corrections. So like I mentioned, at the end of this episode, I'm also going to share what prices I would like these stocks. So right now, the second stock I'm actually going to talk about, and these are actually going from my tier 1 stocks from my least favorite to my favorite. I hope you guys can post in the comments and guess which is going to be my favorite and my number 1 stock that I would not mind adding on when corrections are big. So number 4 is going to be AMD, Advanced Micro Devices. But before we take a look at AMD, let's take a quick look at today's sponsor, a great reason why I'm able to provide so much content to you guys for free. I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. The Motley Fool is a company that provides investing insight and stock recommendations for investors of all skill sets and risk levels. You guys know I love finding new investing tools and resources to help me scout out new growth stocks. And right now I have a discount for one of my favorite services the Fool offers. Through the Motley Fool Stock Advisor services, you get access to a ton of expert stock picks. Every month you'll get 2 new picks that are aimed at growing your wealth and to help you realize your financial goals. Stock Advisor's average stock picks have done amazing returns. If growing your money is something you'd like to do more of this year, you can visit fool.com/Jose Najarro or click on the link below for access to my special offer and decide if the stock advisor is right for you. Thanks again to the Motley Fool, and now onto today's video. For those not familiar, I am an electrical engineer, master's degree in it, and the semiconductor industry is my favorite market to invest in. My 2 biggest players are AMD and Nvidia. So we can see AMD right now is sitting at about $109.99 with a market cap of $133 billion. So for me, AMD, it is a great growth story, especially the way the world is going. Data centers, I believe, is still going to be a huge player in the market, and they're kind of taking that share in the CPU world right there for data centers. They are also a decent player in the graphics cards for both, I want to say, the gaming world and also the data center there. I do believe personally that there is another player that's much stronger for them in there, but AMD is definitely not a slacker. And with the overall acquisitions that they're doing, I do believe leadership for AMD is super strong. This is why AMD would be my number 4 on today's list. Then let's take a quick look at number 3. This is going to be Unity Software. And Unity Software, this is traded under the New York Stock Exchange as ticker U, and it's currently sitting at $126.50. It currently has a market cap of $35.74 billion. For those not familiar with Unity, this is pretty much a software to help developers either create games. So that's the main concept, right? Create games through their applications, through their software. A lot of mobile games are actually already made from Unity. The second part of the business that Unity does is they kind of help you manage your game after the game is created. So if you're trying to run like online servers, if you're trying to do online ads, if you're trying, whatever you're trying to do after post game creation and trying to keep the game successful, Unity helps with those services. The other thing, so that's bullish. I am super bullish in the gaming world right now, especially the mobile game, as it continues to expand in a lot of these other countries like Latin America, like Southeast Asia. I believe the gaming world is still in early stages, especially for the mobile world, and most mobile games are made from Unity. The second market that they're kind of entering is they have these real-time solutions that can be used in architecture, engineering, construction, automotive, transportation, manufacturing, film, animation, and cinematics, right? You're able to kind of create simulations with it. So a lot of engineering firms are using it. When I used to work in the engineering field, the companies I used to work with I've seen projects use Unity for stuff outside of gaming, and I can see that growth continue. So this is another one. Now, if we take a look at number 2, is none other but C Limited. This is doing amazing, sitting at $340 right now. So these are, like I mentioned already, my top 5 positions, and they are really driving my account right now. So I'm super excited. And I hate to say, right, if obviously a correction happens, my portfolio will take a hit, but I wouldn't mind adding, especially if no fundamentals have changed except stock prices. So for those not familiar with C Limited, this is pretty much the three-headed monster. They have pretty much the gaming market with Garena. They have the e-commerce market with Shopee. They have the fintech market with C Money, which, especially since they have Garena in the digital entertainment, they have Shopee in the e-commerce, this fintech business kind of fits perfectly between them. So as the others grow, that one continues to grow. So one of my favorite things, like I mentioned, I do believe the gaming world is still in early stages. One of their number 1 game is Garena Free Fire. This is one of the highest grossing games for the past few quarters all over the world, in Latin America, in Southeast Asia, all over the world, right? So Garena, we can see here in the United States, yesterday was the highest grossing game again. So it just shows the power of their gaming platform. Again, I do believe this gaming platform is going to continue to grow. But the great thing is C Limited uses the money they get from this grossing to kind of amplify the growth of all their other products. So whenever they're trying to enter their e-commerce into a new location, to a new geographic region, it allows them to really do a nice amount of incentives that other companies might not be able to survive doing, just because they have that Garena and that digital entertainment platform to keep the money coming. All these companies, obviously, even though I'm talking the great things about them, they all come with risk, and that's what every investor should understand. Everything comes with a price, and everything has risk and reward to it. The final company, and this would be the first company I would gladly open up my wallet for, would be Nvidia. This is already my number 1 position. It is traded under the Nasdaq as ticker NVDA, and like I mentioned, very similar to AMD. I do believe Nvidia has a little bit more to share in forms of solutions to the world compared to AMD. I'm not saying AMD by anywhere I'm a bear. Like I mentioned, I talked about it earlier. This is a company I wouldn't mind adding, but Nvidia, The solutions they provide to the world, the way this company is heading makes it my #1 favorite company to ever buy if we see some crazy dips. So right now the stock price is sitting at $224. And remember, at this end of this episode, I'm going to take a look at what are some of those prices. What is the prices I'm looking to go in very, very heavy for some of these companies. So Nvidia currently has a market cap of $561 billion. Personally, I believe even $1 trillion is cheap for this company. And in the next 5 years, I do believe we will get there. Maybe not in a straight line, but we will get there. So Nvidia, I mean, they're kind of hitting everything: the gaming world, the artificial intelligence world, the 3D design world, the self-driving cars. Artificial intelligence is used from everything from ad tech, from e-commerce, from video streaming, selecting what is the proper video to show you. So AI is pretty much, I want to say, running the world, and it's going to be running the world for the next few years. Gaming as well, like I mentioned, gaming is a huge market. Self-driving cars, I believe, is the next big player. I think we're still in early stages there, but Nvidia does all these fourth growth drivers in both hardware and in software. And the way they do this in forms of hardware is thanks to their GPUs, their graphics processing units. And this, if you are a big gamer, if you are a content creator, if you are animation studio, if you are working in some form of engineering, architecture, you're most likely using an Nvidia's graphics card to power your workstation, your computer. If you are in the artificial intelligence world, your supercomputer is most likely powered by one of the Nvidia's supercomputer high performance graphics card in the Ampere line. And the self-driving, right, they have constant both in software products that this is becoming. Originally, Nvidia was a hardware company. This is now more of a software-based company. So these are the 5 companies I wouldn't mind adding in forms of a big dip. So now let's take a quick look at prices. Sorense, like I mentioned, these are ones that if we see a huge dip, so some of the prices right now might seem outrageous. Again, I'm not saying this is what we're going to see anytime soon. I don't know if we're ever going to see it, but sometimes volatility gives us some buying opportunities. For Sorense, that level would be in the high to mid 80s. Right now sitting at 113. AMD would also be in the high 75s, the low 80s, where I wouldn't mind really loading the boat for AMD. Right now sitting at 110. Remember, this doesn't mean I'm saying the prices will get there. I'm just saying if those prices ever get there, those are the prices I wouldn't mind entering. Nvidia is probably the one with the biggest drop, and that's somewhere between that 140s price point. Right now sitting at 224. The company has definitely run a lot, maybe even around that 145, 150 levels. That's where I would really enjoy adding more into Nvidia. If we take a look at C Limited, I would like this around the low 200 levels. Right now sitting at 340. Again, right, this is not in a small correction. We're talking about 5%. I'm talking of some big double-digit corrections. These are the companies I'm looking into. Next, finally, we have Unity. This is one that I wouldn't mind getting into the mid 90s. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Like I mentioned, I have about 12 more stocks I want to go to, and this is going to be a nice video series I will do in the next few days. So let me know if you want me to continue. Take care, guys. Have a good night, and see you next time.